All right, let's talk about a virus you've probably never heard of, but one that is incredibly dangerous. It's a story about a deadly partnership, a biological heist, and a silent epidemic that threatens millions. This is the story of hepatitis D. And that story really kicks off with this stark warning from global health experts. You see, this isn't just another virus. It's considered the absolute deadliest of its kind. And today, we're going to break down exactly why. So to really get a handle on this threat, we have to meet the main players in this deadly partnership. And it all starts with what was basically a case of mistaken identity in the world of virology. Back in 1977, scientists were looking at liver samples from patients who had a really severe form of hepatitis B. They found this strange new protein, an antigen, that they just couldn't explain. At first, they figured, oh, it must just be another piece of the hepatitis B virus. But they quickly realized they were dealing with something else entirely, a completely separate pathogen, one with a very unique and very dangerous nature. And that discovery led to an even more fascinating revelation about how this virus actually operates. See, HDV isn't like other viruses. It can't survive on its own. It's basically a biological hitchhiker, and its entire existence depends on its partner in crime. HDV is what we call a satellite virus, and it's the smallest known virus that can infect humans. You can think of it as a defective pathogen. It's got all the genetic instructions to cause chaos, but it's missing the keys to the car. It can't go anywhere by itself. And this is what's so wild about it. HDV is a hijacker. It can make copies of its own genes inside a liver cell, sure, but to build a new virus and get out to infect other cells, it literally has to steal the coat right off the back of hepatitis B. Without hepatitis B floating around, HDV is completely harmless. It can't even infect a single cell. So how does this little viral team-up actually happen inside a person? Well, there are two different ways this infection can go down, and the difference between them is absolutely critical. Okay, on one hand, you've got what's called co-infection. This is where you get unlucky and are hit with both hepatitis B and D at the exact same time. It can make you really sick, no doubt. But the good news is your immune system usually launches a massive counterattack and clears both viruses in over 95% of cases. But then you have superinfection. This is the dangerous one. This is when someone who already has a chronic hepatitis D infection gets hit with hepatitis D. In this scenario, it's a whole different ballgame. It almost always leads to a chronic, lifelong infection with hepatitis D. The big takeaway here, timing is everything. If Hep B gets there first, it rolls out the red carpet for its much deadlier partner. And for those people who get a superinfection and develop chronic HDV, the consequences are both severe and incredibly fast. The virus doesn't just damage the liver, it puts that damage on an express train to failure. Look at this number. 70 to 80%. That's the percentage of patients who develop cirrhosis, that's severe, irreversible scarring of the liver, within just 5 to 10 years. That is terrifyingly fast. Now, to really put that in perspective, check out this timeline. If you have hepatitis B by itself, the journey to cirrhosis can take decades. We're talking 20, maybe 30 years. But when hepatitis D shows up and creates a superinfection, it's like hitting the fast-forward button. It cuts that timeline down dramatically, leading to end-stage liver disease much, much sooner. And here's where it gets really strange. It's a biological paradox. You would think, right, that since HDV needs hepatitis B to survive, it would want its little helper to be thriving. But no. Inside the body, HDV actually suppresses hepatitis B, lowering its numbers. And yet, even with less of the helper virus around, the combined infection is way more destructive, massively increasing the risk of liver failure and liver cancer. Now, this whole drama isn't just happening on a microscopic level. It's a full-blown global health crisis. While most people have never even heard of hepatitis D, it's quietly impacting millions of lives all over the world. The latest estimates are pretty staggering. We're talking about at least 12 million people worldwide living with chronic hepatitis D. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 5% of all the people who have chronic hepatitis B, which makes this a really significant and often totally undiagnosed global threat. And if you look at a map, you'll see this virus has clear hotspots. It's really common in places like Mongolia, parts of Africa, and deep in the Amazon basin. And certain groups are at a much higher risk, especially people who inject drugs, because the virus spreads so easily through contact with infected blood. Okay, so even though this virus is incredibly severe and can destroy a liver so quickly, There is a clear and really powerful way to stop it. And the answer isn't fighting HDV head-on. It's about taking away its essential partner. The whole solution comes down to attacking HDV's greatest weakness, its absolute dependence on hepatitis B. It's really simple. If you can't get infected with hepatitis B, it is biologically impossible for you to ever get hepatitis D. The virus literally can't touch you. It has no way in. So what this all means is that our ultimate defense is prevention. And it's all anchored by one of the most successful vaccines ever made. The hepatitis B vaccine is effectively a vaccine against hepatitis D too. You prevent the helper virus, and you build this impenetrable shield against its deadly little partner. And this leaves us with one final and pretty critical question. We have the tool. We have a powerful shield that can prevent this disease entirely. The hepatitis B vaccine is safe, it's effective, it's available. And yet, 12 million people are still living with this terrifying, accelerated form of liver disease. It just highlights this huge global gap in vaccination, in screening, and in awareness, a gap that allows this deadly partnership to continue to exist.